Nagarjuna, Chandradeva, Shankarakshita, Chandrakirti, and all those great Indian scholars and those who have written now, many of those commentaries that which is called Tenju. All the commentaries translated into Tibetan, more than 250 or 60 volumes of teaching. So those great masters, kind of like got all those degrees from Nalanda University. But one time that in India, that kind of like the Buddhism is kind of flourishing very extensively. On the other side, there is the kind of non-Buddhist, kind of those who are kind of following, and they are also great scholars. And at the same time, that who have learned all this kind of like a miraculous activity, kind of called voodoo. So, many of the non-Buddhist scholars, they come here to Nalanda University and say, we are coming here to debate, with you, Buddhists and non-Buddhists, kind of like they are based on their doctrine, kind of view, how they, kind of like understand about this world, and then how about the non-Buddhists, kind of understand about, they want to have, kind of like debate, discourse. And it's not just only kind of like modern, kind of discourse, but they are saying, we want to just back that saying, if we lose, we will become Buddhist. If you lose, you have to become kind of like Hinduism. And that way, they want to have that kind of like debate. And then there will be in those days kings, all the just different areas, say kings, and then kind of like ministers and scholars. They want to be to witness. And that way they come. And at that time, of course, Buddhist scholars they are very great knowledgeable, but really don't know, because the other, kind of non-Buddhists, they are also very knowledgeable. Not only that, they also have learned Buddhism, how the Buddhist scholars learn, kind of Hinduism, all their doctrines, each other. Because if you want to debate with somebody, you must have to know their philosophy. If you don't know the other philosophy, how you are going to kind of like point it out just logically to say that this philosophy is not right according to the absolute nature or according to the relative truth. So that is why they also, non-Buddhists also learn, and then the Buddhist scholars also learn, but the Buddhist scholars are little bit hesitant. Oh, these are very famous and very great scholars. They have studied so many just 20-30 years study, and also they did meditation. They could perform miraculous activities. So, so they came, then they immediately didn't accept the Buddhism. Then one night, all the Panditas had a dream, and that they just kind of like saying, oh, this time maybe you are not able to defeat them, so you better to invite the Guru Padmasambhava. And that they had that dream. And then the next morning they wake up, oh, I had this dream, kind of like we should invite Guru. And then the other scholars say, yes, I also have. Then answer, yes, I also have. So all of them have kind of same dream. Then they said, oh, how it is possible? Because Guru Padmasambhava in such a kind of like a just isolated channel ground, abiding in an isolated channel ground, very difficult. How the human can go there to invite him? And then at that time, then the Dakini Samayishi, one Dakini, the female that who is like almost like a relatively saying like Guru Padmasambhava's sister. This Dakini said, no, just kind of, you can perform on the top of the yours, kind of like a temple, make all this kind of beautiful and clean and nice kind of thought offering. And then you all just chant this 7 prayer. Kind of with that, then Guru Kama Sabha will just kind of come. So since they got this instruction from that Dakini, so according to that, they all did the same thing. And then when they did several prayer for a while, then Guru Kama Sabha appeared. Then after Guru Kama Sabha appeared, then they had kind of like a debate. And then of course, kind of Guru Kama Sabha, anyway, he kind of like enlightened. And so that way, with the 7-line prayer, 7-line prayer, that the Guru Kama Sabha, kind of like instantly just kind of like appear. And then they debate, and they also just do, and then they try to perform miraculous activities, just fly up in the sky, and then just doing all sorts of kind of things, and that then Dakini Sengye Dongchen, Sivamuka. Dakini Sivamuka also just kind of like kind of support Guru Kama Sabha for performing this miraculous activities and do kind of like a challenge with the kind of non-Buddhist kind of those yogis and scholars kind of, and then somehow many of them some of them they ran away. And most of them, then later they become kind of like Buddhists because of anyhow through those kind of debate. So this debate is very subtle, very subtle. For example, like kind of they say, the self, just self, where we say we have I. We all say I, me, self. And that Buddha taught that there is no self. Self is emptiness.